Last month, a guy walked into a liquor store, told the clerk he was new to whiskey, and walked out $200 lighter with a bottle he could not even appreciate yet. He did everything the marketing told him to do. He bought the famous name, the fancy box, the big number on the label, and almost none of it was the right call. Here is the uncomfortable truth about buying whiskey. The bottle that ends up in your cart is shaped less by what is inside it and more by packaging, shelf placement, and a century of clever advertising. The whiskey industry is very good at getting beginners to spend money in exactly the wrong places. So before you drop another dollar, here are 13 buying mistakes new whiskey drinkers make, counting up to the single biggest one of them all. Avoid these and you will save yourself a small fortune and end up with better whiskey in the glass. Number 13. Buying the most expensive bottle to start. There is a logic that feels right when you are new. Spend more, get better, skip the junk. So the beginner reaches past the $40 bottles and grabs something at $150, figuring the price tag guarantees a good first experience. It does not work that way. A palate is a trained instrument, and a brand new one cannot pick up half of what an expensive whiskey is doing. The subtle layers, the long finish, the rare cask character, all the things you are paying a premium for sail right past a beginner who has tasted whiskey a handful of times. You are buying a sports car before you have learned to drive. Start in the $30 to $50 range. Buy 2 or 3 different styles at that price instead of one trophy bottle. A soft, easy bourbon, a fruity entry-level single malt, and an approachable blend will teach you more in a month than one expensive bottle teaches you in a year. You will learn 10 times more about what you actually like, and you will not be choking down expensive regret because you felt obligated to enjoy a bottle your palate cannot read yet. Save the trophy purchase for the day you can actually tell why it costs what it costs. That day will come, and the whiskey will taste far better when you have earned it. Number 12. Buying a full bottle of something you have never tasted. This is the most common way beginners lose money. You read a glowing review, you see a bottle described as a must-try, and you commit $70 to 700 milliliters of a flavor you have never once put on your tongue. Then it turns out you hate sherry bombs or smoke or whatever that bottle was built around, and it sits on the shelf gathering dust for 3 years. You would never buy a car without a test drive. Whiskey gives you ways to test drive too. Order a pour at a decent bar before you commit to the bottle, and for the price of 2 or 3 drinks, you can survey a whole style. Split bottles with friends, so 4 of you try 4 whiskeys for the price of 1 each. Look for the small format bottles, the 200 milliliter and 50 milliliter sizes, that let you sample a maker for a few dollars before you commit to the full size. Some shops even run sample programs or have open bottles behind the counter. Taste. First, buy second, always. Number 11. Paying for the packaging instead of the whiskey. Walk down the aisle and notice which bottles come in a heavy tin, a wooden presentation box, a velvet bag, a crystal decanter. Now ask yourself a simple question. Who paid for all that? You did. The box does not improve the liquid by a single drop. A gift tin can add $10 or $15 to the cost of a bottle that is identical to the plain version sitting right next to it. The crystal decanter editions are worse, sometimes doubling the price for whiskey that is no different from the standard release. Limited edition labels and anniversary packaging play the same game, charging a premium for a new coat of paint on the same liquid. There is a reason empty boxes from certain prestige brands sell for real money online. When the packaging has resale value, you stopped buying whiskey a while ago and started buying a collectible container. If you want the whiskey, buy the plain bottle. Save the fancy boxes for gifts where the presentation is the point. And even then, know that you are paying for cardboard and ribbon, not flavor. Number 10. Trusting the gold medals on the label. That shiny gold sticker that says double gold, San Francisco, or some impressive sounding competition, the one that makes you reach for the bottle with confidence. Here is what it actually means. Almost nothing. These competitions run on entry fees. Producers pay to submit their bottles and the medals get handed out generously. At one of the largest and most respected spirits competitions in the world, around 86% of all entries walk away with some kind of medal. Think about that. Nearly 9 in 10 bottles that enter get to slap an award on the label. A bottle without a medal is almost the exception, not the rule. There are dozens of these contests running every year, many of them with no cap on how many golds they can give out. And a brand with deep pockets can simply enter the same bottle into a handful of them and collect a wall of stickers to choose from. The medals are not fraud, exactly. Real judges do taste blind, but a system where the vast majority of paying entrants win something is closer to advertising than to a meaningful seal of quality. The producer chooses which bottles to enter and pays a fee for each one, so the deck is stacked toward a win before judging even starts. Some competitions even hand out gold as their lowest tier, so a gold medal can literally mean bottom of the class. And the genuinely rare top honors, the unanimous double golds that only a small single-digit slice of entries ever earn, look almost identical on the shelf to the participation grade stickers. A beginner cannot tell them apart, and the brand is counting on that. Do not let a sticker make the decision. Use independent reviews, trusted palates you have come to agree with, and your own experience. The medal on the front is the brand talking. Ignore it. Number 9. Buying travel retail exclusives, assuming they are rare. You are at the airport, you have time to kill, and the duty-free shop has a glowing wall of bottles marked exclusive, special edition, available only here. The traveler brain kicks in. This is my one chance. Exclusivity is not the same as excellence. A huge share of travel retail bottles are no age statement releases bottled at the lower end of the strength range, built specifically to look special to a hurried traveler who will not research it. The marketing departments design these for a captive crowd that has 20 minutes and no way to taste first. Many of them are the same liquid you can buy at home under a slightly different label, and plenty of so-called airport exclusives quietly turn up in online shops a few months later, and the deal is often not even a deal. Sometimes you pay more at the airport than you would at your local shop because the store is counting on you being captive and rushed. There are genuinely good travel exclusives out there, but buy one because the flavor profile appeals to you and the price checks out, not because the word exclusive triggered a fear of missing out. If you cannot quickly verify it is a real value, walk to your gate empty-handed. The bottle will not change your life. Number 8. Buying flavored whiskey and judging all whiskey by it. A lot of people take their first ever step into whiskey through a honey, apple, or cinnamon flavored bottle. There is nothing wrong with that as a drink. The problem comes when a beginner decides those bottles represent what whiskey is, and either falls in love with sugar or writes the whole category off. Flavored whiskey is whiskey with sweeteners and flavoring added after the fact. It is closer to a liqueur than to the spirit itself, and it is usually bottled at a lower strength to make room for all that sugar. If you sip a honey whiskey and conclude that all whiskey is sweet and syrupy, you have been misled about the entire category. And if you only ever drink the flavored stuff, you never develop a palate for the real thing, which means you keep buying the training wheels version forever and miss out on everything that makes whiskey interesting. Treat flavored whiskey as its own little corner, a mixer or a shot, not a representative sample. To actually understand whiskey, buy one honest, unflavored bottle in an approachable style, something soft and sweet to begin with, and give it a fair chance over several nights. Your palate adjusts faster than you think. That is the doorway. The flavored bottles are a fun side room, not the house. Number 7. Assuming single malt always beats a blend. This one is pure inherited snobbery, and it costs beginners both money and good whiskey. Somewhere along the line, the idea took hold that single malt is the serious premium choice, and that blended whiskey is the cheap stuff you mix with cola. So beginners overpay for mediocre single malts and skip brilliant blends entirely. Single malt just means the whiskey came from one distillery. That is the whole definition. It is not a quality grade. Blending, done well, is one of the hardest and most respected skills in the entire industry. A master blender juggling 30 different whiskies to hit a consistent, balanced flavor is doing something genuinely difficult, and one bad component can ruin the whole batch. Johnnie Walker Black is a blend, and every drop in it is aged at least 12 years. Nicker from the barrel is a blend, and it has been named Whiskey of the Year. Houses like Compass Box have built their entire reputation on showing how complex and rewarding a blend can be. Some of the most rewarding bottles you can buy for the money are blends that the snobs taught you to ignore. Buy on flavor and value, not on the words single malt. Some of the best beginner whiskey on the shelf is sitting in a blended bottle that a lot of buyers walk right past on their way to an overpriced single malt that is not even as good. If you are getting value out of this so far, do me a favor and hit subscribe. I put these out every week, and drop a comment telling me where you are watching from and the one bottle you regret buying the most. I go through the comments, and the buying horror stories are always the best part. All right, on to the expensive half of the list. Number 6. Believing the age statement is a quality guarantee. That number on the bottle, the 12, the 18, the 25, has an iron grip on new buyers. Bigger number, better whiskey, higher price justified. So beginners chase age the way they chase a spec sheet. Age tells you one thing. It tells you the youngest whiskey in that bottle spent that many years in a barrel. It does not tell you the barrel was good. It does not tell you the spirit was worth aging that long. Old whiskey from tired, exhausted casks can taste flat and woody, all bitterness and no life. Meanwhile, a younger whiskey from excellent, active barrels can sing. Plenty of the best bottles being made right now carry no age statement at all, because the maker chose flavor over a marketable number. Stop treating the age like a price you should be happy to pay. A 12-year-old can absolutely outdrink an 18-year-old that costs twice as much. Judge the whiskey, not the math on the front label. Number 5. Chasing allocated hyped bottles instead of the great stuff on the shelf. Every beginner eventually hears the legendary names, the bottles people line up for, enter lotteries for, talk about in hushed tones. The hunt becomes the hobby, and the new buyer decides that the only whiskey worth having is the one they cannot get. Here is the trap. Those allocated bottles sell on the secondary market for wild multiples of their real price, sometimes several times the actual retail. A famous wheated bourbon with a retail price around $240 routinely changes hands for many times that. You are not paying for liquid at that point. You are paying for a story and a flex. And the cruel joke is that the same distilleries that make those unicorns also make excellent, available bottles for a fraction of the price, using closely related recipes. The makers of that famous wheated bourbon produce a whole line of soft, sweet, wheated whiskey that sits on shelves at $30 to $80 and scratches the same itch. Skip the chase. Buy the great bottle you can actually walk out with today. Your wallet and your patience will thank you. Number 4. Buying from a shop with bad turnover. Beginners assume a sealed bottle is a sealed bottle, that whiskey is whiskey no matter where it's sat. So they grab the dusty one off the bottom shelf of the gas station, or the bottle that has been baking in a sunny window display for who knows how long, and never think twice. Where a bottle has lived matters. Whiskey is fairly stable once sealed, but heat, direct sunlight, and a very low fill level over years can dull and degrade what is inside, especially on older or already opened stock. A bottle faded by the sun with a label peeling and a fill line that has crept down from evaporation through a bad cork is a gamble. A shop with slow turnover is full of these quiet risks. Buy from stores that actually move whiskey. High turnover means fresh stock and bottles that have not been sitting in punishing conditions for years. Check the fill level through the glass, especially on older or pricier bottles, and put back anything where the liquid has crept noticeably below its neighbors. Avoid the sun-bleached display bottles in the window. If a bottle's label is faded and the cork looks dried out, that is a bottle that has had a hard life. A good bottle shop with steady traffic is itself part of the value you are paying for, and the people behind that counter are usually worth talking to. Number 3. Ignoring independent bottlers and store single barrel picks. This is where the real money is being left on the table, and almost no beginner knows it. New buyers stick to the official distillery bottles they recognize and walk straight past the unfamiliar labels, the ones from companies they have never heard of, assuming the strange name means lower quality. It is usually the opposite. Independent bottlers buy casks from the same distilleries and release them under their own label, often at full cask strength, without the colouring and filtering the big brands use to make everything look and taste uniform. That means more flavour in the glass, not less, and frequently from distilleries whose official bottles cost far more or barely exist. Names like Gordon and MacPhail, Signatory, Cadenhead and Barrel Craft Spirits have given drinkers some of the best value whiskey out there for decades, frequently at lower prices than the official bottling of the very same distillery. On the American side, your local liquor store's single barrel picks, where the shop hand-selected one entire barrel just for them, are often better and more interesting than the standard mass-produced version of the same bourbon for a similar price. You are getting a one-of-a-kind bottling that nobody else can sell. The unfamiliar label is not a warning sign. Half the time, it is the smart buy. Learn a few good independent bottlers and start checking the store pick shelf. Ask the person behind the counter which barrel they chose and why, because they usually tasted through several to land on it, and they love talking about it. That is where the people who know are quietly shopping, while everyone else fights over the famous label 2 aisles over. Number 2. Buying the marketing instead of the liquid. Step back and look at how most beginner whiskey decisions actually get made. The celebrity face on the ad. The slick heritage story about a founder and a river and a secret recipe. The bottle designed to look expensive. The shelf position at eye level that the brand paid a fortune to occupy. Almost none of that has anything to do with what the whiskey tastes like. The biggest whiskey brands pour enormous sums into advertising. Single global campaigns can cost millions and are built to reach hundreds of millions of people across dozens of countries. That money buys the famous name. the prestige feeling, the sense that you are making a smart, sophisticated choice. It buys the eye-level shelf space and the end cap display that the brand paid the store handsomely to occupy. What it does not buy is better liquid in your glass. A heavily marketed bottle and a quiet, brilliant bottle from a maker with no ad budget can sit side by side at the same price, and the beginner reaches for the famous one every single time. That reflex is exactly what the marketing was built to create, and you paid for it twice, once in the price and once in the years you spent believing it. Train yourself to see past it. When you feel pulled toward a bottle, pause and ask whether you want the whiskey or whether you want the image the brand sold you. Buy the liquid. Let the marketing talk to someone else. Number 1. Refusing to trust your own palate. Every mistake on this list comes back to this one. The beginner does not trust their own mouth, so they outsource the decision. They buy what the reviewer scored highest, what the expensive label implied, what the medal promised, what the hype demanded, what the famous brand told them a sophisticated person drinks. They spend years buying other people's opinions and never once buying what they actually enjoy. Your palate is the only judge that matters. Not a critic's score, not a price tag, not a sticker, not a forum's favorite. If you love a $30 bottle more than a $300 one, the $30 bottle is the better whiskey for you, full stop. The entire point of all this is the pleasure of the glass in your hand. There is no prize for spending more, no medal for liking the right things, no one keeping score except the marketing departments who profit when you doubt yourself. So pay attention to what you actually like. Sweet or smoky, light or rich, blended or single, cheap or dear. Keep notes if it helps. Buy more of what brings you joy and stop apologizing for it. The day you start trusting your own taste is the day you stop wasting money, and the day whiskey finally becomes the simple pleasure it was always meant to be. That is the whole list. Start cheap, taste before you commit. Ignore the boxes and the medals and the hype. Shop where the whiskey is fresh. Look at the independent and store pick shelves, and above everything else, trust what your own palate is telling you. If this saved you from a few bad bottles, subscribe and I will see you in the next one.